Welcome to episode number 50 of Life Without Cravings. I just realized that it's episode 50 and I should probably have done something super special. However, I did not. I'm busy this week. I'm running a challenge next week. I went live earlier in the Facebook group and I was talking about a topic that I think you would be very interested in. So I have chosen to take that live stream and chop it up and make it into a podcast. Enjoy. Yesterday, if you don't know, I'm running a Master Your Carb Cravings challenge next week, and yesterday I have asked everyone who joined like why it is that they're there, what it is that they hope to get out of that challenge. So I was going through the responses to just see. I like to bring in, if there are many people that have the same problem, I want to take that problem and I want to bring it into the training and give examples of how they can attack that. So one thing that actually stood out to me was like how many people actually said like I want to stop thinking about food, or I want to stop having this argument in my head all the time whether I should or I shouldn't eat this or how much I should eat or whatever. Is this constant, the voice talking in your head. That stood out to me because that never occurred to me as being strange or abnormal when I was addicted and when I was into it. I just thought that I need to stop eating. I didn't have that awareness. So it's very interesting to me that at least, I mean, a lot of people are still feeling compelled to eat all the time, or they feel like they're addicted. But if a lot of people have this awareness, whether they have learned it from me or from somewhere else, I don't care. That's good news, because this is the first step in identifying what we don't want. And I didn't even realize that that I was able to get rid of this until I got rid of it. I didn't realize that until I was past my addiction. So that was really interesting, and I want to talk a little bit about that because I know that whether you know that voice is there or not, this is probably a problem for you if you're in this Facebook group. Otherwise, I'm not sure why you're here. Maybe you're just here because you're a friend, which is fine. But for those of you who are here because you want the help, I'm pretty sure that this applies to you. So I wanted to share this. And if you haven't joined the challenge and you do want to join the challenge and you want my help to stop doing this, then I just join it. I'll put the link. I think I have already put it under the video. So there is a link there. That way you can just click that and go and sign up for the challenge if you want to do that. So what I want to say is like anyone who is obsessively thinking about food does not have a good relationship with food. And I'm talking about even if you are, let's say you're carnivore, but you're overeating constantly, or you're snacking on cheese or salami, or if you're keto, maybe you're snacking on other low carb foods like, I don't know, olives or sardines. No one snacks on sardines. I said that, and now someone's going to tell me that they do it. Whatever it is, if you are eating because you're bored or because you want to procrastinate or because of anything other than real hunger, you have a problem with that relationship with food. Like there is something there that you probably want to look at because your eating pattern isn't a healthy one. And this can look a little bit different for different people because we're all different. And I know for me, it was kind of all the things. I was so food obsessed. And it makes me laugh because if you saw my last podcast, when I was accused of never having been an addict, and I'm thinking back to this, I'm like, well, what is that if not an addict? So I would wake up in the morning and I wouldn't think about breakfast because breakfast was a given for me. There was never any discussion about it. I would usually have some bread with some smoked meat on and butter and that kind of thing that I used to eat back in the days. But I would wake up, and if I didn't have my lunch pre-packed, if I was going to eat lunch at home or whatever, then I would start thinking about lunch, the first thing I did in the morning. So I would go up, think about what am I going to cook? Do I have everything that I need? Is there enough for me? Or if I was living with someone else, do they want something? Do I have everything that I need? Blah blah blah. And then I would move on to dinner. Same thing. Thinking it through. Do I need more of it? Do I need to cook? How many portions do I need to cook? Do I need more lunches this week? And it would all be about the food. And then I would probably go off and do whatever I would do. And I think from memory that I did get a little bit of a hiatus early-ish morning after I already have all of that sorted. But then come lunchtime, I would probably think about it again, sometimes eat something before lunch, sometimes not. Have my lunch, and having lunch was a trigger. Dinner was worse, but lunch always triggered me. If I was somewhere, then I would go and get something, just get a little bit, something sweet, just to take the edge off that craving because it's uncomfortable. And while I'm there getting something for after lunch, I would probably get something extra, just, in case I want something after dinner. But the thing is that that thing wouldn't last until dinner because I would start eating that as well. Most of the time, I would save a little bit because I knew that I would go crazy if I didn't have it after dinner. And then I would eat my dinner, perfectly satisfied, perfectly healthy dinner, obviously eating the rest of the sweets. And if I didn't have any, I would probably have to take another trip to the supermarket or I would bake something. And like this was my life. It doesn't sound like I did anything else than thinking about food. And if we look in my brain, what I was actually doing, where I was spending my time, I that's what I spent my time on. And it's kind of sad. From my perspective now, it did not feel good then, but I didn't know that it could be different for me. And it was this constant invasion of my mind. Like I didn't want those food thoughts, but I didn't even realize that I could get rid of them. And right now, I don't even know how I was functioning as well as I was at the time. When I'm thinking back at it, if my brain was that occupied all the time now, I don't know how I would function. So I say that I was functioning, but like I know that I was probably doing these things on autopilot. I was doing the things that I needed to do. I wasn't neglecting my job. I was doing my job. I was doing the things that I needed to do. So it's not like I was a heroin addict or something, unable to take care of that. I was still doing all the things, but there was never any joy or excitement in it. It was just like, this is something that I have to do. And I've chosen to do this because it's something I enjoy. I used to work as a personal trainer and group training instructor and a diet advisor. And yeah, I enjoy that, but I couldn't feel the joy. I enjoyed it so much as I was doing something that I liked doing, but at the same time, not really being able to connect with it because I was so up in my head thinking about the food all the time. It's like I'm enjoying it, but there's like a roadblock that blocks those emotions from coming through. And it was like I had lost that spark within me, like the spark of life. It was like I was walking around like a freaking ghost or something. And it's kind of horrible. It's not a good way of living. Let's put it like that. I didn't even know that I could get out of it. I didn't know that there was anything that I could do about it. And I think the worst part is actually knowing that I didn't think that I could get out of it. Like I feel so sorry for my past self. And thinking that I was stuck there forever, obviously, if you are in a place where you feel like that and you think that I will never ever be able to get out of it, and you think that you're stuck there, of course, you're not going to feel excited and happy because if this is your life, if this is your life forever, how are you going to be able to enjoy it? Especially if you, like me, I was already doing a job that I kind of enjoyed. So I guess this is why I'm trying to get you guys to realize that you have options. Like there are so many options for you that you can choose. And I just want to say, stop fucking around. Like seriously, stop fucking around. Every time you procrastinate, every time you say, well, I don't have time to deal with this right now, and you are suffering in your life, what you're doing is like you're putting your life off. You don't even necessarily know what it is that you're missing out on. But if you are not feeling like I can enjoy my life and I really like my life and I have a fucking food problem, just freaking deal with it. I know it's not my problem, it's your problem. But I wish that someone had told me to stop fucking around. Like, hey, Pim, you can fucking do this. Excuse my language, I'm swearing today. There is a way for you to do this, and you get to choose how to do it. I wish that someone had come and told me that rather than just saying, like, why don't you just stop? It's just like, just don't buy that shit anymore. Or drink a glass of water when you have cravings. It's like, fuck you, that doesn't work. It just made me angry because they didn't understand how it works. And they still probably don't understand how it works. So if you are sick of thinking about food, are you sick of arguing with yourself whether you should, shouldn't eat something, what you should eat, how much, how often, whatever, and maybe you think that you have tried a lot of things, but what we usually try are things like we change our macros, we change, we might be using intermittent fasting to get rid of the cravings. Maybe it's willpower. Nothing of that will work. If you have an emotional eating problem or if you are properly addicted to carbs, none of that will ever work. Like, you need to be willing to face those cravings head on to overcome them. We can never outrun the cravings and we can't get rid of them. We have to use their kryptonite. And it's almost like the cravings, they thrive when we resist them. Because every time they win, they get stronger. It's just like a muscle at the gym. Every time you lift the weight, it feels really uncomfortable maybe for some people. Some people like the pain. If Jonathan's still here, he likes the pain, I'm pretty sure. But it is a resistance. That's why it's called resistance training. We grow stronger from resistance. It's the same thing with the fucking cravings. And I don't know about you, but I would be prepared to go through this process 10 times if I didn't ever have to deal with these obsessive food thoughts again. Because this has really given me my life back, and I didn't even know I didn't have my life. It feels like I've been given a second chance to actually live my life, to be in control of what I want to do, take that, go out in the world and actually live the life that I want. Do I always succeed doing that? No, because my brain wants to go back to the same pattern and it wants me to work a lot. So I need to keep like myself in check. And I can use the same tools to do that. Also, when you have your brain back, when you are able to like remove all those food thoughts, you will have a lot of space and time to think, and you will be able to put things into your brain, things that are enjoyable, things that you want to do, things that you want to dream about, things that you want to achieve. You will have time to think about all of those things and think about the solutions and how to get there. And then it starts to become quite fun. And the truth is that if you are suffering from this, like unless you are willing to face your cravings, this pattern will never go away. It will always be with you in some form. I mean, I just told you that it is with me in some form, but I'm very aware of it and I can still do something about it. So even if you manage to quit sugar or whatever your thing is without doing any work, your brain is probably going to be obsessing about something else. It will never let your brain go quiet because this is a pattern that you have been practicing for a very long time. And you will continue doing it, and your brain will continue finding areas in your life where you can do this. Maybe you will obsess about work. Maybe you will obsess about some project, or maybe you will obsess about a relationship that you have. There's always something that your brain is going to cling on to and express the same kind of behavior, which will prevent you from actually enjoying the things because it's obsessing about the details. And I can I can teach you how to deal with this. It doesn't have to be very complicated, and it doesn't even have to take a lot of time to get started, but it needs to be a thing that you want to do long term. And you need the willingness to do the work. And then obviously the willingness to stick with it long term, even if you don't see immediate results, because the results are in your brain. Literally, you are rewiring the neurons in your brain, and you cannot see that. And just because the rewiring is happening doesn't mean that you are able to use them efficiently in the beginning. It's like when you're building a house, just because it looks finished, if the walls are not there, or if the insulation is not put in, it's not going to be very pleasant to be there. It's the same thing. It's not going to be very pleasant to walk down this new neural pathway until it's well established. And you just need to keep building it and building it and building it, just like with a house. If you stop when you're 80% there, you're still not 100% there, and it's still not going to be pleasant to live in that house. Maybe you haven't installed the electricity yet. It's going to be really cold and dark, and we don't like that. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you do want my help to do this, you can join the Master Your Carb Cravings Challenge, which is starting on the 10th, or if you're in the US or Europe, it will start on the 9th. And the link is down under the video. In the challenge, what I will be teaching you is just how to face your cravings and go through that process. We will do a few other things as well, working on motivation and setting up a plan, etc. But that skill is something that I include in pretty much all my trainings because it's essential. And if you join the challenge and you start practicing, I want to help you to get the practice right, because there is a right way to do it and there is a way that I don't like saying wrong, because I don't think there's ever anything wrong, but there's a way that you can do it when you're not doing it as efficiently as you can. And then it might take you a very long time to do it. So what we do in the challenge is I have you start practicing already, give me some feedback, tell me what's going on, and I'm trying to correct it for you, get you on the right path to make sure that you're doing it the right way, or the most efficient way, maybe I should say. And so if you want that, join the challenge. It's free. I'm not charging for the challenge. And we have lots of people in there. People are going to post their homework in the Facebook group. So you can also read what other people are doing and my replies to them and learn from other people, which is awesome. That's why I like groups, because if we share, everyone gets to take part of that. So you can obviously do this on your own if you want to, but if you want my help next week, I'm dedicating the whole week to this free challenge and just to helping you get this right. So what do you have to lose? If you want to stop this freaking behavior and see what could be on the other side, like why not? Why not join? So I hope that you can see that there are options for you. Like the world isn't black and white. The world is like all the colors in between. Some people say that black isn't even a color, but I'm going to use it as a color. And what it's about is that you need to make a decision that you want more out of life than you have right now. You want something better than this brain fog that you might be living in right now, and this misery and this out of control behavior where you feel like I'm not in control, I can't do anything about it. All that is needed is you excuse me, is for you to make a decision to make sure that this behavior is corrected, if you like, or rewired, relearned, and then do something about it. And that was pretty much all I wanted to share with you today in terms of what I'm going to teach. So now I'm going to have a look. If you have any questions, if you do have questions, put them into the chat box and I will answer them. So apologies for all the F words today. I just felt it's that frustration when, I don't know, we always want to change other people. We always want to change the world. And I want to change you guys because it frustrates me that you are suffering from this and you're not willing to do the work to get through it. When I know, I'm 100% sure that what's on the other side for you is fucking awesome.